This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tona Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Tuesday, April 2, 2024. Transport boss Egerton Newman urges operators not to mount protest. Former Police Federation chairman accuses organization of victimization. Government commits to transfer lands to Coral Gardens Group in first quarter of the financial year. Gender advocates applaud JCF's move to remove gender-specific words in ranks. In regional news, violence flares again in Haiti. In international news, former U.S. President Donald Trump posts a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case. In sports, Jamaicans again topped the medal standings at the Cari-feta Track and Field Championships in Grenada. And in business, shares of Donald Trump's social media company fell by more than 20% on Monday, less than a week after it began publicly trading under the DJT ticker. The details after the break.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Catch the first news of the day, a comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, Egerton Newman, says some transport operators are planning to protest the decision to forego a fare hike that would have taken effect this month. Mr. Newman is, however, appealing to those stakeholders to hold strain. Late last week, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz confirmed that an agreement was reached between the government and major players in the transport sector to postpone the planned fare increase. The agreement followed the top-level meeting involving Minister Vaz, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, and members of the Transport Stakeholders Group. One of the reasons advanced for the postponement was the inflationary impact of an increase at this time. Mr. Newman says the promised increase could materialize later this year.
It has brought our attention because we did not get to discuss the matter before we go to the meeting with the minister, that there are some persons out there who want to take matters into their own hands and call small demonstration. And we are saying to our members, whole strain. Don't go and do anything that you'll be regretting in the long run. There are some operators who did not take the fare increase last year, although we urge them to. Well, let us say clearly that we will be meeting with the minister again through the steering committee, and a number of issues will be dealt with. We could get the fare increase as of November of this year or the latest next financial year. We have asked our minister, we told our minister we will work with them.
Meanwhile, Mr. Newman says while the decision to postpone the fare increase is a difficult pill to swallow, sector interests expect the government to make good on other commitments.
It is an agreement that was very hard to swallow, but bearing in mind the present conditions of the economy, looking at inflation, and listen to the explanation given to us by the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Transport, we have no other choice but to agree with the minister, but must note clearly that we have put some things on the table that must be addressed and must be addressed now. Of course, some conditions, the conditions under which we work is one such matter that must be dealt with now. We believe in training and development, and that is another matter that we are looking at.
Edgerton Newman, president of TODS. Former chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, Corporal Rohan James, is at daggers drawn with the organization, accusing its members of betrayal. In a letter shared on social media, Corporal James asserts that the Federation has colluded with the High Command to replace him as chairman. This because of his decision to file contempt proceedings in the Supreme Court in relation to the JCF's failure to implement court orders for an overtime system. He further claims that the organization has put the matter on hold to ensure that they remove him from the Central Committee of the Federation. This, he claims, is a ploy to have the matter withdrawn from the court. However, the new Police Federation boss, Inspector Blanch Codner, has rubbished Corporal James's claims.
The Police Federation operates with branch boards. All branch boards have been dissolved with effect from the 31st of March. We are in the process of putting them back together based on the fact that we are a central executive. The courtesies have been extended to us to continue to operate as a central executive, because if there's no central executive, it means that the Police Federation would be at a standstill. So the fact that the branch boards have been dissolved, fresh elections are being held. Corporal James is no longer the chairman of the Police Federation.
She says that there's no rule that mandates the inclusion of previous executive members as part of the new leadership of the Federation.
At the end of the Federation year, the boards are dissolved. The boards that were previously in place, it doesn't mean that the same persons who were there before are the persons who will be elected to be on the board. So different persons will be elected to serve.
Inspector Blanch Codner, chairman of the Police Federation. The Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, says the formal transfer of lands at Albion Heights in Montego Bay, St. James, to the Coral Gardens Benevolent Society should happen within the first quarter of this financial year. Dr. Chang made the pronouncement last Friday during a ceremony to mark the 61st commemoration of the Coral Gardens massacre dubbed Bad Friday.
This property ultimately belongs to the community. It has been approved, but the formal handing over will take a little bit more. The bureaucracy have to be at work. In fact, I expect that very soon, in this first quarter of the financial year, we'll have a cabinet submission to formally transfer it to the Coral Garden Benevolent Society. That is when you can get the title and call it your own.
The Coral Gardens massacre refers to a series of events that occurred in April 1963, in which police and military forces arbitrarily detained, tortured, and killed scores of Rastafarians. The government of Jamaica issued a formal apology in 2017 and established a trust fund for survivors harmed in the incident. Dr. Chang also pledged to provide resources to refurbish structures on the property.
At which point then you can put in the resource required to build out what is required. and you'll be able to not only develop an active cultural center, but also, my understanding, to move the current home from Norwood here. And we'll certainly provide some significant assistance in refurbishing the place. And I'm sure the structural state of the building, if they can be refurbished, we'll have to knock them down and start over. But there's enough land space here to provide a strong cultural and active economic and education center.
Dr. Horace Chang, Minister of National Security. Meanwhile, Rastafarian elder Muta Baruka says more must be done to remedy the injustice that was inflicted on the Rastafarian community during the Coral Gardens incident.
It can't be enough, man. You have man who couldn't go to school, little youth who couldn't go to school from them time there, where the testimonial the other day. We say them couldn't go to school because they do a hunt a Rasta picnic get feel it too. And up to this day, you have a whole heap of people who get tormented by police over the years because of that Coral Garden incident and the Bustamante. And them still feel it. It's not like say it's done. It's a thing where it's an ongoing thing. You know, it's like a man robbing of your family.
Muta Baruka speaking with Nationwide News. 30 fatalities were recorded on the nation's roads last month, bringing the total number since the start of the year to 102. This compares to 107 for the same period last year. That's according to the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The most recent deaths occurred on Easter Sunday, where a 44-year-old man and a 49-year-old woman were killed in separate incidents. In the former case, police say the man, who hailed from Spanish Town, died when the Toyota Probox motorcar he was driving crashed into a Honda at the intersection of Bustamante Highway, Red Road, and Savannah Cross in Maypen, Clarendon, about 7 p.m. A passenger in the Probox and the driver of the Honda motorcar are being treated at hospital. Earlier in the day, a 49-year-old Kingston woman succumbed to her injuries after the Nissan Caravan, in which she and 22 others were traveling, crashed into a wall on the Fern Gully Main Road in Ocheria, St. Anne. Police say the right front tire of the bus blew out and the driver lost control of the vehicle. Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, says motorists need to slow down and not just on holidays.
The death of a lady on Easter Sunday brings into very sharp focus the fact that as a nation we have to be eternally vigilant about road safety. For this year, now including its death, 101 persons have died compared to 107 last year. And last year we know that 425 people died. And it's our aim, at least in phase 1, to get below 400 this year. We started off very well with at least 20% less than last year. We are now down to just 7%. It therefore means that we have to continue to have enforcement as our number one priority. We have to be warning people constantly to slow down, just slow down. Not just on holidays, but at all times.
Dr. Jones says road users must also take the necessary steps to keep themselves safe on the roads.
Many motorcyclists have also died. Last count I heard it was 37, probably 40 by now. And when you combine the number of motorcyclists who are dying and pedestrians with people dying in cars, then this adds up to this kind of number. The police alone cannot make up for what others need to do. We need to take personal responsibility and slow down. Wear our helmets, be very careful on the road, don't wear dark clothes at nights, don't drink and drive. Stop using the cell phone and driving. It is madness. So we mourn the loss of another death, and we thank God because it could have been much worse. Pray for those who are injured. Pray for those who are grieving at this time.
Dr. Lucian Jones, the Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council. Gender advocate Lynette Vassell has commended the Jamaica Constabulary Force for striking gender references from its rank structure. The force announced the move last Friday, saying it was not just an update in terminology, but a modern approach to equality within the constabulary.
I think it could denote consciousness at the level of the leadership, no doubt fueled by women in our ranks, that change is important, that recognizing women's contribution and removing all forms of discrimination is the way to go. I think it's an important step.
In its announcement, the JCF said the dropping of the word woman from its ranks coincides with the 75th anniversary of women entering the force. It says the move honors the contribution of women in the force and underlines an environment of inclusivity where the focus is on the professional, not the personal. Mrs. Vassell says other important steps must be taken to advance gender parity in the JCF.
That is why I say it's a foothold, because I know that there are many other issues. The whole question of the percentage of women as against men in the force, the whole question of opportunities for enlarging the core of women because of whether there are facilities, the whole recruitment issue as well. So it's a foothold, and women inside the force and the men who are progressively looking at these issues, as well as civil society, needs to take the opportunity to push the envelope and see what else needs to be done immediately.
That's Lynette Vassell, gender advocate. She was speaking with Nationwide News on Monday. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Shake and go with true shake. Shake and go. Grab a true shake and go. When me have to put in the work, but I'm moving slow. Grab a true shake and go. School time and not joke time. Have to study hard, brain full time. Grab a true shake and go. When we up in the gym, we have to stay healthy and fit. Grab a true shake and go. Shake and go with true shake. Packed with 9 grams of protein, 24 key vitamins and minerals to keep you going. Grab a true shake and go.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news, violence has flared again in Haiti, with gangs engaging in running gun battles with police as the effort to push forward with a political solution to the crisis drags on. Gangs launched an armed attack overnight on Monday, clashing with police in the capital, Port-au-Prince. The violence came as former Prime Minister Ariel Henry appeared to question the promised establishment of a transitional council planned to oversee the installment of a new government. Witnesses say gunfire broke out in the area of Champ de Mars, a big public park near the National Palace, which is the presidential residence. The renewed violence following weeks of chaos ignited panic among residents. At least 5 people were reported to have been killed around the city overnight, while scores were trapped for hours in the city center. At least 4 policemen were reported to have been wounded. Local media reports say police were forced to flee an armored vehicle, which was then set on fire by the gangs. In international news now, former U.S. President Donald Trump has posted a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case, staving off asset seizures by the state. He was found in February to have fraudulently inflated property values and was ordered to pay a $464 million penalty. The posting of the bond means New York's Attorney General cannot enforce the penalty by freezing his bank accounts or taking property until his appeals are heard. Trump denies wrongdoing and says the case is a political hit job. Trump was originally ordered to post a bond amounting to the full penalty, but it was reduced to $175 million last week after his lawyers said it was impossible to secure a bond of that size. For now, at least, Trump is spared the humiliation of seeing his real estate assets, such as Trump Tower in Manhattan and his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, taken away from him. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
Real estate dealers and salesmen. This year's licensing period is almost here. Skip the hassle and take advantage of the Real Estate Board's new direct online client portal payment platform. Go to our client portal and create an account to get started. Whether you're paying license fees, penalties, or continuing professional development courses, status notifications give you the peace of mind that your payments were successful, and emails with meeting links for your courses. Use the Real Estate Board's new client portal payment platform. Get on with the business of turning houses into homes.
Jumpstart your fitness goals with Express Fitness. Sign up today and restart your fitness journey at an Express Fitness location near you. Enjoy safe, comfortable, and well-equipped gyms from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Call 554-5180 for a full listing of our open locations. Express Fitness. Express Fitness. Your goal, our mission.
In your morning sports report, Jamaica again topped the medal standings at the annual Cari-feta Games in Grenada. Jamaica secured 84 medals, 45 gold, 23 silver, and 16 bronze. The Bahamas was next with 35 medals, 9 gold, 13 silver, and 13 bronze. Trinidad and Tobago followed with 27 medals, 4 gold, 11 silver, and 12 bronze. Hosts Grenada was the only other of the 20 countries to record a double-digit medal haul with 13. Next year's Cari-feta Games, the 52nd staging is set for Trinidad and Tobago. Meanwhile, Jamaica's athletes swept the sprint hurdles on the final day of action at the Cari-feta Games. Malaya Duncan won the under-17 girls 100-meter hurdles in 13.63 seconds. In the under-17 boys 110 meters hurdles, Michael Dwyer took gold in 13.81 seconds. His teammate Robert Miller took bronze in 13.07 seconds. Habiba Harris ran a championship record of 12.93 seconds to win the under-20 girls 100-meter hurdles. Her compatriot Brianna Campbell was second in 13.11 seconds. Shaquane Gordon posted a championship record of 13.15 seconds in winning the under-20 boys 110 meters hurdles. His countryman Daniel Beckford was second in 13.25 seconds. In the meantime, Jamaica won 3 of the 200 meters final. Wolmer's Natrice East won the girls under-17 200 meters in 23.74 seconds. O'Shane Jervis, 22.16 seconds, finished second in the boys' race behind Kadeem Chinapu of Trinidad and Tobago, 21.78 seconds. In the under-20 girls 200 meters, Shanoya Douglas won in 23.03 seconds, with Sabrina Dockery third in 23.13 seconds. Gary Card won the under-20 boys equivalent in 20.60 seconds. And the Jamaicans are also strong in the field on the final day. Shaquan Dunn was the boys under-17 shot put, or won the boys under-17 shot put with a throw of 18.89 meters. Chavez Penn took gold with a leap of 15.64 meters, while Romain Lewis took silver in 15.10 meters in the under-20 boys triple jump final. In the under-17 boys discus, Javonte Smith won with a throw of 52.71 meters, and Kamari Kennedy was second with 50.84 meters. Now, Heidel's track and field athletes are expressing hope that their achievement in earning the Chairman's Award at the recent ISA Boys and Girls Champs will inspire others at the institution to excel while representing their school. Led by the versatile Class 1 sprint double champion Aaliyah Baker, 4 of the school's top performers at the event were rewarded for their outstanding output. Baker, Abigail Campbell, Tashira Johnson, and Shania Myers will all share in the $300,000 award that was donated by Chairman of the school's board, Ryan Foster, in recognition of the athletes' efforts. Finally, in sports, some football news. Owain Gordon scored a double in Montego Bay United's 3-0 win over Harbour View in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League on Monday. Johan Weatherly got the other goal for Montego Bay United. Meanwhile, relegation-bound Treasure Beach held 9th place Very United to a 0-0 draw. And that's it for your morning sports.
Live exquisite this year with new arrival black and chrome fixtures for your home at Unique Living. Select from a wide variety of rain shower systems, fabulous faucets, and stylish sinks to suit your kitchen and bathrooms. Get uncompromised quality and style unique to you. Shop everything new at Unique Living, Jamaica's leading shower and faucets provider. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call 876-755-3661 to 2.
In business this morning, shares in Donald Trump's social media company fell by more than 20% on Monday, less than a week after it began publicly trading under the DJT ticker. The drop comes after Trump Media and Technology Group reported it had lost nearly $60 million last year while only bringing in around $4 million in revenue. According to Bloomberg, the price plunge caused the former president's net worth to shrink by $1 billion. Shares had surged last week, giving the company an $11 billion valuation. But experts warned the stock was bound to tumble as its main product, Truth Social, loses users and burns cash. The price spike drew comparisons to the pandemic-era meme stock mania, when the share prices of companies like GameStop and AMC soared, even though basic parts of their businesses, such as revenue, were weak. Meme stocks are ones that gained sudden popularity on social media, sparking price rises as online investors rushed to buy. On Monday, shares of Trump Media, which makes its money exclusively through advertising on Truth Social, fell $13.30 to $48.66, but they're still up nearly 200% so far this year. Now, crisis hit Chinese property developer Country Garden has suspended trade in its shares on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange after delaying the publication of its annual financial results. The firm said last week that it needed more time to collect information as it restructures its debts. It defaulted on its overseas debt last year and faces a winding-up petition. In January, rival real estate giant China Evergrande was ordered to liquidate by a Hong Kong court. Country Garden said, due to the continuous volatility of the industry, the operating environment the group confronting it is becoming increasingly complex when it announced its earnings report would be delayed. The first hearing for Country Garden's winding-up petition, which was filed by Ever Credit Limited, is scheduled for May 17. Finally, now in foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar will open trading today, selling for an average $154.69 against the benchmark U.S. dollar. The Jamaican dollar will open trading this morning, selling for an average $114.48 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican dollar will open trading today, selling for an average $196.18 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
For all your musical needs, visit the Music Mart, the most complete music store in Jamaica. Telephone 876-960-7712. The time brought to you by the Music Mart is
6:28.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hatley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-371-4-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Importers, the Jamaica Customs Agency is revolutionizing your clearance experience as our contactless clearance process becomes mandatory on April 2, 2024. This process will facilitate the clearance of all non-commercial personal shipments at our seaports with a CIF value of less than $5,000 being inspected by customs without you or your agent present. You're encouraged to make your payments using our customs mobile app, JA Customs Connect. Fees payable to your shipping agent and warehouse operator remain applicable. For further information, contact your freight forwarder or email contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm or call 876-922-5140-8. The JCA's contactless clearance process is convenient, efficient, and secure. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
So Jah today in our prayer and accept our thanksgiving. Father, we thank thee for all that you have done and for what you're doing now. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restored my soul. He restored my soul. Splashing, dashing, restless sea. Never still you seem to be. Sometimes angry, sometimes sad. Sometimes a lover though you're glad. Splashing, dashing, restless sea. Never still you seem to be. Sometimes angry, sometimes sad. Sometimes a lover though you're glad. Little children love you well. Love all the wondrous tales you tell. Love to watch you come and go in the tides that heaven blow. Yet though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, cause Jah is with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Splashing, dashing, restless sea. Never still you seem to be. Sometimes angry, sometimes sad. Sometimes a lover as though you're glad. Splashing, dashing, restless sea. Never still you seem to be. Sometimes angry, sometimes sad. Sometimes a lover as though you're glad. Little children love you well. Love all the wondrous tales you tell. Love to watch you come and go in the tides that heaven blow. Those
A very good morning to you. Good morning to you. You're tuned in to Nationwide This Morning, NTM. Thank you so much for joining us in the space. I'm Tana Thomas.
And I'm George Davis.
Here I come, and here I am. Obama salute the return of Adan. Here I come, and here I am. Obama salute the return of Adan. To me, gonna for me, take it over me. In a dance party, that me style, I come, and here I am. Obama salute the return of Adan. Here I come, and here I am. Obama salute the return of Adan. This is a warning, pray to God. You live to see a morning, yes. Pirate, this is a warning, pray to God. You live to see a morning, yes. Never see so much people.
So I feel like I now have somebody who's also a musical maestro.
One musical maestro. See more about this.
So, it used to be an issue where the more vintage artists, Ricardo, myself, and Saeed, sometimes are kind of clueless as to who these people are. We know. Jermaine says sometimes. We know the songs, we know the music, but to remember who the singer is or to identify, that's sometimes a difficulty. But George says it's pinchers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
pinchers.
And I trust your word. You wouldn't lead me astray.
No.
So it's pinchers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vocally, I have my issues with. He has a lot of melodies, Tana, but what makes him special is style. He has unique styles, and he was very creative. Let me tell you, he's a character. He's a dynamo. He has so many hits to his name. He's one of our best. But you won't find him winning any vocal contests. But he'll kill you with melody. And the man full of style and flair.
Yeah. So, for our YouTubers, our listeners, if it is that you missed out on any of the announcements and the reiteration of that has been taking place since last week, George? You are hearing George this morning, and it's not Ricardo. Ricardo is now on the afternoon program, Nationwide at 5, yeah. And so George will be in the slots now that Ricardo used to be, and that's a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. Thursday remains with Saeed and I. So we're back off our Easter break. Hope you guys had a good one and that you stayed safe, yeah, and condolences to the persons, to the family members of those who unfortunately died on the nation's roads over the weekend. And I believe I'm hearing of at least 2 drownings that took place on the holiday break as well in Manchester, or at least one in Manchester in Alligator Pond. So condolences go to the family members of those who have died. Good morning to you, our YouTubers. I see all of you saying hello to George, welcoming him to the space. Very, very happy to have you this morning. And for those of you who are in Radio Land and you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead now and subscribe and ensure that you click the notification bell as well so that you're notified every time we post content over here on our backup channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Now, on my mind this morning, George, Jermaine, and our listeners, I am heartened by the stance taken by the leadership of at least 2 major transport groups in deciding not to support any strike at this time in relation to that delay of the 16% increase in taxi fares. And those 2 groups are TODS, led by Edgerton Newman, and the One Voice Transportation Group, led by Lorraine Oscar Finnegan. Now, the delay came after the government asked the sector for the deferrals, citing the need to maintain inflation in single digits to keep the economy on course. Despite the announcement last week, Thursday, that taxi operators and the government had agreed to the delay of that application of the second phase of the increase, on the weekend, some taxi operators reportedly indicated their intention to strike, to protest. They expressed being upset at both the government and the transport leaders who agreed to delay the increase. Now, this morning, I'm in no way disregarding the feelings of many hardworking transport operators who are looking forward to seeing another bump in the money they'd be able to take home and the money they'd be able to set aside for maintenance expenses or other operational costs. I'm also mindful of taxi operators who do not own their vehicles and must make the car owners money plus their own. The cost of operating a taxi can be expensive, and those expenditures change often. And like many Jamaicans, leading up to the time of an increase in your take-home pay too, you start to calculate how better you'll be able to manage your expenses, fund something you couldn't buy before, and have something left over for savings or investments. So when someone comes back and tells you that the money move is not happening, there's that natural disappointment. So it's completely understandable. But I started out by saying that I am heartened by the move by some taxi groups to not support any strike or protest at this time because of the bigger picture that's on my mind. And that bigger picture is that transportation costs, in particular taxi fares are a big factor driving inflation. And that taxi fare was increased in its first installment by 19% last year in October. To compensate for this, it was thought that the cut in JUTC fares would offset the impact of inflation rate at that time and going forward. But as you heard in the BOJ's apology in February, they miscalculated the effect and it didn't quite work. It presented as an anti-inflationary measure, but missed the mark. So point-to-point inflation for the end of January was at 7.4%, driven largely, we heard from the BOJ, by that first taxi fare increase. For February, it stood at 6.2%, just outside of the target range of 4 to 6%. What worked to achieve that, according to the BOJ, were factors to include a relatively stable foreign exchange and the downward trend of commodity prices overseas. But it was still outside the target because of that big transportation factor. It weighs heavily. With that in mind, you can see how another bump in taxi fares by 16% would push inflation even further away from that target range of 4 to 6%. As a matter of fact, the BOJ Governor Richard Biles, at his February briefing, said the increase would mean they wouldn't achieve the target until June 2025. But without it, inflation is projected to be back in range by Christmas.
The bank's Monetary Policy Committee met on the 16th and the 19th of February and was advised that inflation is projected to remain above the bank's target range until June 2025, largely because of the impact of the temporary price shocks which I outlined earlier, including the projected impact of the second phase of the PPV fare increase, which is scheduled to take effect in April 2024. Without the impact of this second increase in PPV fares, inflation at December 2024 would fall within the target range.
So again, you're hearing that there from Richard Biles, how much of a factor taxi fares, transportation costs weigh into the matter of inflation. The increase would also prompt the BOJ to increase interest rates to curb inflation from running away even more. And this would have to be done because running inflation affects a lot of things. It affects your purchasing power. And furthermore, rising interest rates to curb inflation affects you buying a car or getting a loan, among other things. So it's always a tussle, Georgian listeners, to find the balance. The balance right now is for operators to just hold on a bit in the interest of the bigger picture. You might have your isolated interests, and that's fine, as I mentioned before. But demanding a move of those interests could tip the scale. In the meantime, there's some other interests that could be considered at this time, and others that should be urgently addressed too. What are those incentives that could apply to your sector? Present those to the Transport Operators Steering Committee. The improvement of road conditions, taxi parks, perhaps consideration on the fees applied to operators. This steering committee has been proving itself as an avenue that works. So use it. I encourage you to use it to hammer out the other measures that have a less adverse effect on inflation at this time. And who knows, as I was hearing from the Todd's president in the newscast at 6 as well, there's a possibility too that an increase could come later this year. But use the avenues that you have, which is the steering committee, to hammer out those measures that have a less adverse effect on inflation at this time. And that's what's on my mind.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:44.
A time to double up your savings. These are the boosts that you've been awaiting. Put it towards the dreams you've been chasing. Double up your savings. Double up.
Save so you can win in the Jan Bank Double Up Your Savings promotion. You could be one of 5 lucky quarterly winners to walk away with double the money you put in your savings account. Conditions apply.
Double up your savings.
Check our website and social media for details. Jan Bank will help you find a way. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Jumpstart your fitness goals with Express Fitness. Sign up today and restart your fitness journey at an Express Fitness location near you. Enjoy safe, comfortable, and well-equipped gyms from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Call 554-5180 for a full listing of our open locations. Express Fitness. Express Fitness. Your goal, our mission.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And JAA, keeping you mobile.
All right, let me, I haven't done this in many a year. Ludlow McLean from the El Shaddai Taxi Company is our man on the streets. Good morning, Ludlow.
Good morning, George. How are you doing?
I'm very good.
And Tona?
Hey to you, Ludlow.
All right, this is a days of the reminiscing day, or days earlier.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, what's happening this morning? It's not so busy yet. It's the first working day. Well, for some people, other places are 24/7. But for the time being, it's pretty good going. We're looking at overcast conditions, some clouds above, some cumulus clouds, some cumulus strata. But all in all, it seems it might be a pretty good day. But the traffic flow from east, especially going towards the east, coming from out of the St. Catherine area, especially along the Mandela, then when you hit the St. Andrew border, going across eastbound to 6 Mile, it's pretty good movement so far. Westbound, not a problem. What about those people who are in Portmore? So far, so good. It's also steady as they make way along places like the Port Henderson Road, George Lee Boulevard. If you're on the other side, Dawkins Drive, going out to the Dyke Road or back towards the toll, no problem so far. Municipal Boulevard running steady, but these areas will be later as the morning increases. The situation along, I must comment before that. I don't want to forget Waterloo Road and Trafalgar Road, especially if you're making it onto Waterloo and West Kings Road. If you want to make that turn in the vicinity of Fontana there, Waterloo Square, there's a huge pothole. Believe me, if you hit that one, you're going to be in problems. There's also one on Lady Musgrave Road to make it onto Fairway Avenue. 2 potholes that is going to cause some problems in the long run. But the situation, generally speaking, is steady flows. Now, if you're on the eastern side, coming up Mountain View Avenue, you have no problems yet as you make your way further up towards Olop Road. So these areas are running beautifully for the time being. Until later, we'll see what happens. Come 7:18. It's back to you, George, in the studios.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow McLean there from the El Shaddai Taxi Company, Street Smarts 1.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And JAA, keeping you mobile.
Your word of the day, one you're familiar with, it's spelled C-H-A-G-R-I-N, spelled C-H-A-G-R-I-N.
Chagrin. Chagrin. Chagrin.
Your word of the day is pronounced chagrin. And it's a noun, and it means a feeling of vexation marked by disappointment or humiliation. Chagrin, a feeling of vexation marked by disappointment or humiliation. It's an old word. Dictionary.com is telling us this morning that chagrin was first recorded in 1650, between 1650 and 1660. Yeah, and it comes from the French word, I'm wondering if this is pronounced the same way, chagrin, meaning melancholy, anxiety, or vexation, and to use it in a sentence also provided by Dictionary.com this morning. Much to his chagrin, it was evident that he had forgotten his lines in the school play. Another for you, she tried to hide her chagrin when her presentation didn't go as planned. That sounds like me.
For you? To my chagrin.
Yeah.
What can I add to my chagrin? To my chagrin. Finish the sentence. To my chagrin. Come now. To my chagrin.
Something to match you?
Yeah, not necessarily, but
You know what came to mind?
Tell
Something
me.
about the newsroom
Tell
that
me.
we didn't do right.
Oh, yes. To my chagrin, they buried the lead in the story.
That's it.
Yes, to my chagrin, the lead was buried in this. What can I say? Tell us.
And he used the word chagrin?
No.
Just general disappointment.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I can pretend.
I like it.
I am vexed, and I don't intend to deny it.
June. You don't lose the touch, you know. You don't lose it at all.
Something that's not to my disappointment, though,
Is what?
is that now I have control
Yes.
of the
The Proverbs book. You know, a long show, I control the book.
I now have control of the Proverbs book, 100 Jamaican sayings, right?
Oh boy. You would not start from one again.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just going to flip through. And, I have not.
She not go so far.
God, on page 69. I was close. It's the proverb,
yes,
number 62.
Mm-hmm.
And this one says, George, bucket with all a bottom, na have no business a riverside. Bucket with all a bottom, na have no business a riverside. What does that mean?
I'm thinking of I think it's similar to roach now have business in a foul fight. So if you have flaws or shortcomings in certain areas, then you shouldn't go or involve yourself in those areas, in those dealings, that kind of thing. Am I close or?
You're spot on.
As Jermaine said, shot, stay in your lane. Focus on what you are skilled in doing. Yeah,
For sure. The translation, a bucket with holes in the bottom, has no business at the riverside, and the meaning, don't criticize others when you have faults of your own.
You know, I don't know if you know the series of Dos Equis commercials with the world's most interesting man.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I introduced Jermaine to it some time ago, and he fascinated like me.
Mhm.
So the premise is, it's a Mexican beer, Dos Equis, 2 X's. That's the logo as well.
Mhm.
So they're this golden aged man, like 70 odd, very wizened in his appearance, gray hair and everything, and he's giving pearls of wisdom while talking about the beer. And the catch line is, well, I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I make it Dos Equis. And he said something that is so true. He said, in life, you must identify the things you don't do well and don't do those things.
I agree.
It's fascinating. So when I hear that, no, bucket with
Yeah.
hole at bottom, now have the business at Riverside,
Yeah.
exactly that.
That's why I'm not going to sing.
Sing, man. Never sing, man. Never sing. Make a back you up. Make a back you up. Make a back you up.
That's
You know
not
what we
something
can
I
do?
do well.
You know what we can do, Tana? We can
Yes.
do Linda Rodstad and Aaron Neville. What did you go against Jeremy? Linda Rodstad and Aaron Neville. You might go find it. We're gonna
Is
practice
it
it
duet?
with. Yeah, man.
Oh.
But it is a big tune. You know it, man.
Yeah, draw me out.
No, not today, no. We'll give you some time to practice.
Very
We'll give you
well.
some- no, man. We'll not put you on the spot. No, put you on the
Gotcha.
spot. You ready, Jeremy? Give me the tune. So the tune, it hits the soul. Here goes.
Can
know
you
this?
sing?
Not really, but you know. Blind, I lead blind.
All right.
Look at this face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
I know the years
A very popular song
Tony, you
in
can do it,
Jamaica.
man. You can do your part, and I do my part.
We'll practice.
We'll go train, yeah.
Yeah, we'll practice. We're gonna go to our features at the top of the hour. George has the news.
But I know how to love you. And that may be all I need to know.
Did you know that you can crack open a fresh coconut almost anywhere in Jamaica? Street vendors and supermarkets will readily supply them for you. The light, sweet taste is almost synonymous with island life, and it is extremely good for you. In Food for Thought today, the benefits of coconut water. What is coconut water? Coconut water, which is a clear fluid found inside coconuts, differs from coconut milk. Coconut water has a slightly sweet, nutty flavor and is low in sugar and calories. However, it also boosts electrolytes such as potassium, sodium, and magnesium, all of which help to replenish lost nutrients. What that means is it's something good to drink after exercise or during a mild illness, although it may not be better than water. The drink, known popularly to wash off your heart, has many health benefits. What are the benefits of drinking coconut water? It aids in hydration. Coconut water is low in calories and carbs. Those electrolytes of potassium, sodium, and magnesium play a major role in coconut water's appeal. It's high in potassium. Most people don't get enough potassium in their diet. The mineral helps remove extra sodium from your body through your urine. Coconut water can even help lower blood pressure. It's low in calories. Other fruit juices can be high in added sugar, calories, and carbs. Coconut water, on the other hand, is lower in calories, making it a good option for those who like sweet beverages. It's free of fat and cholesterol. Coconut water is 94% water and is fat-free and cholesterol-free. It may help with treating kidney stones. Urinary stones are painful clumps of mineral crystal that form in the urinary system. The most common form is kidney stones, which form in the kidneys. There's limited evidence that water intake can help prevent recurrence in people who have previously had kidney stones. Higher fluid intake increases the volume of urine passing through the kidneys. This dilutes the concentration of minerals, so they are less likely to crystallize and form clumps. Tips for drinking coconut water. Coconut water can be consumed directly from green coconuts or bought in bottles. Read the label. When buying coconut water in supermarkets, go for options that are 100% coconut water and contain no added sugars or preservatives. Drink after exercise to boost hydration. Enjoy it any time of day. Coconut water can be enjoyed on an empty stomach or with a meal. If you don't like the taste of coconut water, try adding it to cocktails or use it in smoothies. Remember, coconut water is a delicious, electrolyte-filled, natural beverage that may benefit your heart, moderate your blood sugar, help improve kidney health, and keep you refreshed. If you want to start sipping this tropical drink, there should be an array of brands on the shelves of your local grocery store or local vendor waiting for you to become their next customer. That's it for Food for Thought. Until next time.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
If you have a hectic schedule and barely get much sleep,
I can imagine the bags under your eyes. Let's review a few things you can do. Hi, I'm Tana, and these are your lifestyle pages. Reduce your salt intake. Water will travel from the parts of your body that are low in sodium to the parts that have. The area around your eye is a prime example. That's why a dinner loaded with salt will result in a morning after puffiness. Sleeping on your side or stomach, gravity will cause fluid to collect under your eyes. Try to sleep on your back and add an extra pillow under your head. Ladies, remove your eye makeup before snoozing. It can make your eyes water and cause a case of morning after puffiness. Still swollen? Try chilling them with slices of cucumber or tea bags. I'm Tana. Catch you next time.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Help someone today. One act of kindness can go a far way. The time by the Jamaica Information Service is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston or Bay. The temperature by National Supply is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 this morning, Tuesday, April 2, 2024, Transport boss Egerton Newman urges stakeholders to remain calm amid government fare hike reversal. Former Police Federation chairman accuses the organization of victimization. The government commits to transfer lands to Coral Gardens Group in first quarter of the new fiscal year. And gender advocates applaud the JCF's move to remove gender-specific wording from ranks. In international news, Donald Trump posts $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case. The details after these.
News at 7 is brought to you by Fosrich, your electrical, lighting, solar, and LED people.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, Egerton Newman, says some transport operators are planning to protest the decision to forego a fare hike that was set to take effect this month. Mr. Newman is, however, appealing to those stakeholders to hold strain. Late last week, the Transport Minister, Daryl Vaz, confirmed an agreement was reached between the government and major players in the transport sector to postpone the planned fare increase. That agreement followed a top-level meeting involving Minister Vaz, the Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, and members of a transport stakeholders group. One of the reasons advanced for the postponement was the inflationary effect of an increase at this time. Mr. Newman says the promised increase could materialize later this year.
It has brought our attention because we did not get to discuss the matter before we go to the meeting with the minister, that there are some persons out there who want to take matters into their own hands and call small demonstration, and we are saying to our members, hold strain, don't go and do anything that you'll be regretting in the long run. There are some operators who did not take the fare increase last year, although we urge them to. Well, let us say clearly that we will be meeting with the minister again through the steering committee, and a number of issues will be dealt with. We could get the fare increase as of November of this year or the latest next financial year. We have asked our minister. We told our minister we will work with them.
Mr. Newman says the decision to postpone the fare increase is a difficult pill to swallow. However, he says sector interests expect the government to make good on other commitments.
It is an agreement that was very hard to swallow, but bearing in mind the present conditions of the economy, looking at inflation, and listen to the explanation given to us by the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Transport, we have no other choice but to agree with the Minister, but must note clearly that we have put some things on the table that must be addressed and must be addressed now. Of course, some conditions, the conditions under which we work is one such matter that must be dealt with now. We believe in training and development, and that is another matter that we are looking at.
Edgerton Newman, president of TODS. Former chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, Corporal Rohan James, is at daggers drawn with the organization, accusing its members of betrayal. In a letter shared on social media, Corporal James asserts that the Federation has colluded with the High Command to replace him as chairman. This, he says, is because of his decision to file contempt proceedings in the Supreme Court in relation to the JCF's failure to implement court orders for an overtime system. He further claims that the organization has put the matter on hold to ensure he's removed from the Central Committee of the Federation. This, he claims, is a ploy to have the matter withdrawn from the court. However, the new Police Federation boss, Inspector Blanch Codner, has rubbished Corporal James's claims.
The Police Federation operates with branch boards. All branch boards have been dissolved with effect from the 31st of March. We are in the process of putting them back together based on the fact that we are a central executive. The courtesies have been extended to us to continue to operate as a central executive, because if there's no central executive, it means that the Police Federation would be at a standstill. So the fact that the branch boards have been dissolved, fresh elections are being held. Corporal James is no longer the chairman of the Police Federation.
She says there's no rule that mandates the inclusion of previous executive members as part of the new leadership of the Federation.
At the end of the Federation year, the boards are dissolved. The boards that were previously in place, it doesn't mean that the same persons who were there before are the persons who will be elected to be on the board. So different persons will be elected to serve.
Inspector Blanch Codner, chairperson of the Jamaica Police Federation. The Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, says the formal transfer of lands at Albion Heights in Montego Bay, St. James to the Coral Gardens Benevolent Society should happen within the first quarter of this fiscal year. Dr. Chang made the announcement last Friday during a ceremony to mark the 61st commemoration of the Coral Gardens massacre, dubbed Bad Friday.
This property ultimately belongs to the community. It has been approved, but the formal handing over will take a little bit more. The bureaucracy have to be at work. In fact, I expect that very soon, in this first quarter of the financial year, we'll have a cabinet submission to formally transfer it to the Coral Garden Benevolent Society. That is when you can get the title and call it your own.
The Coral Gardens massacre refers to a series of events that occurred in April 1963, in which police and military forces arbitrarily detained, tortured, and killed scores of Rastafarians. The government of Jamaica issued a formal apology in 2017 and established a trust fund for survivors harmed in the incident. Dr. Chang also pledged to provide resources to refurbish structures on the property.
At which point then you can put in the resource required to build out what is required. And you'll be able to not only develop an active cultural center, but also, my understanding, to move the current home from Norwood here. And we'll certainly provide some significant assistance in refurbishing the place. And I'm sure the structural state of the building, if they can be refurbished, we'll have to knock them down and start over. But there's enough land space here to provide a strong cultural and active economic and education center.
Meanwhile, Rastafari elder Muta Baruka says more must be done to remedy the injustice that was inflicted on the Rastafari community during the Coral Gardens incident.
It can't be enough, man. You have man who couldn't go to school, little youth who couldn't go to school from them time there. We get testimonial the other day. We say them couldn't go to school because they did a hunt Rasta, a Rasta picnic get feel it too. And up to this day, you have whole heap of people who get tormented by by police over the years because of that Coral Garden incident and the Bustamante. And them still feel it. It's not like say it's done. It's a thing where it's an ongoing thing. You know, it's like a man robbing of your family.
Muta Baruka. 30 fatalities were recorded on the nation's roads last month, bringing the total number since the start of the year to 102. This compares to 107 for the corresponding period in 2023. That's according to the Public Safety and the Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The most recent deaths occurred on Easter Sunday, where a 44-year-old man and a 49-year-old woman were killed in separate incidents. In the former case, police say the man, who hailed from Spanish Town in St. Catherine, died when the Toyota Probox motorcar he was driving crashed into a Honda Vezel at the intersection of Bustamante Highway, Red Road and the Savannah Cross in Maypen, Clarendon about 7 p.m. A passenger in the Probox and the driver of the Honda motorcar are being treated at hospital. Earlier in the day, a 49-year-old Kingston woman succumbed to injuries after the Nissan Caravan in which she and the 22 others were traveling crashed into a wall on the Fern Gully Main Road in Ocho St. Anne. Police say the right front tire of the bus blew out and the driver lost control of the vehicle. Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, says motorists need to slow down and not just on holidays.
The death of a lady on Easter Sunday brings into very sharp focus the fact that as a nation we have to be eternally vigilant about road safety. For this year, now including its death, 101 persons have died compared to 107 last year. And last year we know that 425 people died. And it's our aim, at least in phase 1, to get below 400 this year. We started off very well with at least 20% less than last year. We are now down to just 7%. It therefore means that we have to continue to have enforcement as our number one priority. We have to be warning people constantly to slow down, just slow down. Not just on holidays, but at all times.
Dr. Jones says road users must also take the necessary steps to keep themselves safe.
Many motorcyclists have also died. Last count I heard it was 37, probably 40 by now. And when you combine the number of motorcyclists who are dying and pedestrians with people dying in cars, then this adds up to this kind of number. The police alone cannot make up for what others need to do. We need to take personal responsibility and slow down. Wear our helmets, be very careful on the road, don't wear dark clothes at nights, don't drink and drive. Stop using a cell phone and driving. It is madness. So we mourn the loss of another death, and we thank God because it could have been much worse. Pray for those who are injured. Pray for those who are grieving at this time.
Dr. Lucian Jones, Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council. Gender advocate Lynette Vassell has commended the Jamaica Constabulary Force for striking gender references from its rank structure. The force announced the move last Friday, saying it was not just an update in terminology, but a modern approach to equality within the constabulary.
I think it could denote a consciousness at the level of the leadership, no doubt fueled by women in our ranks, that change is important, that recognizing women's contribution and removing all forms of discrimination is the way to go. I think it's an important step.
Ms. Vassell says, in his announcement the JCF said the dropping of the word woman from its rank coincides with the 75th anniversary of women entering the force. It says the move honors the contribution of women in the force and underlines an environment of inclusivity where the focus is on the professional, not the personal. Mrs. Vassell says other important steps must be taken to advance gender parity in the JCF.
That is why I say it's a foothold, because I know that there are many other issues. The whole question of the percentage of women as against men in the force, the whole question of opportunities for enlarging the core of women because of whether there are facilities, the whole recruitment issue as well. So it's a foothold, and women inside the force and the men who are progressively looking at these issues, as well as civil society, needs to take the opportunity to push the envelope and see what else needs to be done immediately.
Mrs. Vassell was speaking with the Nationwide News on Monday. Meanwhile, gender and development specialist Indy McClymont Lafayette agrees that the removal of gender-specific titling sends the right message.
I think it would be good if the force followed up by doing, a gender analysis to see what were the gaps for men and women within the force and what other measures need to be put in place to ensure that there is a level playing field for both men and women within the force. I think that would send a strong message that the force is serious about gender equality.
Indy McClymont Lafayette, Gender and Development Specialist. She was speaking with Nationwide News on Monday. International news now. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has posted a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case, staving off asset seizures by the state. He was found in February to have fraudulently inflated property values and was ordered to pay a $464 million penalty. The posting of the bond means New York's Attorney General cannot enforce the penalty by freezing his bank accounts or taking property until his appeals are heard. Trump denies wrongdoing and says the case is a political hit job. He was originally ordered to post a bond amounting to the full penalty, but it was reduced following his lawyer's intervention, saying it was impossible to secure a bond of that size. For now at least, Trump is spared the humiliation of seeing his real estate assets, such as Trump Tower in Manhattan and his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, taken away from him. That's it for the news this morning.
News at 7 was brought to you by Fosrich, your electrical, lighting, solar, and LED people.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:15.
Employers, mark your calendars. The annual Employers Return, SO2, originally due March 31, 2024, is now due on April 2, 2024. File online at jamaicatax.gov.jm. Contact 888-TAX-HELP for more assistance. The temperature by Tax Administration Jamaica, working together to serve you even better, is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
The Jamaica Conch Cluster JCC has received a groundbreaking achievement in receiving the Marine Stewardship Council certification for the Jamaica Queen Conch. This means that the JCC can proudly bear the MSC logo, signaling commitment, sustainability, and profitability. Special thanks to the Government of Jamaica and its agencies and their implementation and funding partners, the Compete Caribbean Partnership Facility. For more information, visit the MSC website at www.fisheries.msc.org or contact them directly at conclusterjam@gmail.com. Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And
JAA, keeping you mobile.
Street Smarts 2, Ludlow McLean on tap. Morning again, Ludlow.
Morning again, George, and our listeners, the motoring public, and our visitors. We can't forget your good morning and welcome to Jamaica. Those who are arriving, for those who have arrived, and those who are departing. It's a beautiful, Tuesday morning, and the skies are clearing up now, but some ominous clouds are in some places. So I'm not so sure what is going to happen later. I'm not a weather predictor. The situation on the road now is that it's still good vehicle movement. Those of you coming out of Portmore, you know that once you hit the Health Shelter Brayton, you're going to have some traffic there. But I guess by next week it's a bit much more intense, but it's still good vehicle movement as you make your way from Portmore, going through the toll, exiting onto Marcus Garvey Drive. 3 miles has built up, and I am sure it's going to build up as the morning progresses, but it's fairly good going down Marcus Garvey Drive, going up Agley Park Road to connect with Eastwood Park Road, then on the northbound side, and then going across to South Oden Avenue. You have traffic in that area, and as a matter of fact, there's traffic in the Harvard Tree Square area, where they're coming down Constant Spring Road southbound or westbound along Hope Road to go across the Hagley Park Road. Harvard Tree Road has some traffic, but it's moving. No problems, no delays yet. Going further down to going past Ruthven Road, Chelsea Avenue, and Oxford Road is traffic, but it's moving again all the way into Crossroads, Beechwood Avenue in both directions, no problems. And going further down Lyndhurst Road, connecting with Russell Road and all these areas, it's moving. Good vehicle movement for the time. And those of you on the east, Mountain View still remains good, coming up to Arthur Wind, then go across the Tom Redcombe, pretty good going in those areas. But I'm sure as the morning progresses, there will be more traffic in these spaces. So it's our second report for the morning. We urge you to lane properly, and motorists, look out. Once you're at that intersection, you still have to be careful as you go across. So, you have some motorists who disregard the road traffic signals and all of that. So, as usual, at Street Smart, your safety is our concern. George, take it away.
Thank you, my friend. Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean from the El Shaddai Taxi Company. Up next, the front page.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
And JAA, keeping you mobile.
Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned into our discussion segment, The Front Page. This morning we're focusing on the views from transport operators in relation to the postponement, or rather delay, of the 16% fare increase. The government and transport operators have reached an agreement to defer the implementation of the 16% fare increase that was due yesterday. The decision was made on Thursday following a meeting between government officials and stakeholders in the transport sector to discuss the impending increase. The meeting included the Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz, the Transport Authority, and members of the Transport Operators Steering Committee.
In asking the sector for a deferral, Dr. Clark cited the need to maintain inflation in single digits in order to keep the economy on course. He also acknowledged the hardship faced by the sector players and what a fare increase would mean for their operations. He did note, however, that the sector has one of the largest impacts on inflation. The Transport Minister Darrell Vaz commended the operators for accepting the deferral and gave his commitment to continue to working with the operators to identify and agree on other incentives.
Minister Vaz mandated the Transport Operators Steering Committee to meet and design a comprehensive transportation incentive framework, which would include measures that would have a less adverse impact on inflation. For reaction now, we're being joined by President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, Edgerton Newman, and Director at the National Council of Taxi Associations, that's Nkota, Dion Chance. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, Tana. Good morning, George. And welcome, George, to the big show.
Welcome.
I will teach the ropes.
Thank you. Yeah, man, I'm learning from her already.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Just to hear from you, Dion, before we go to Edgerton Newman, what's your position on what has been agreed on, not to go with the 16% increase at this time, to delay it?
Okay, well, both Mr. Newman and myself were present at the meeting with both the ministers. Mm-hmm. And based on what was put forward and the fact that it is not a situation where the increase is being taken away, which is what's being deferred for economic reasons. But from where I sit, I have to strike a balance because I'm also a member of the steering committee that look at things and make recommendations to the minister. From the association that I am responsible for, which is the St. James Taxi Association, the mood among the members is somewhat mixed. I think it is more of a shock and disappointment more than anything else. And the general argument that is coming from the members is one of being upset and feeling as if they were slapped in the face, and the popular argument is all members of parliament took 300% increase on their salaries, and the economy was never ever looked at it in terms of inflation. and I'm just speaking raw language of what is coming over, and that the taxi fraternity is always at the back, so to speak, and whenever there is a time for anything to be given to members of the taxi fraternity, even the general public comes up against it. One member made an argument that, he agrees that our service is mainly for the poorer class of persons, but his vexed issue is that you never hear these same people arguing about minimum wage, which is what they get with respect to being able to survive in the economy. But as soon as a dollar is added to the taxman's intake, it creates a problem as if a national disgrace or a national problem is being put forward because the taxi fraternity is to get something. And it breeds some form of distrust from the members when it comes to the system. And I can't say that I blame them, because once you don't understand and certain things are not put forth, and then you're promised certain things, like the $200 million for the revolving loan being given to the commercial banks by that government entity at 3% to be loaned to taxi drivers, and when our members show up at the bank, they're being told that that same money is going at 18 and 20%. So these are some of the issues that are driving the feeling among the members, because as far as I'm concerned, a fare increase will never solve our problem, because that is only one of the dimensions that go into the whole aspect of survival in the industry. And there are many other things. We've been mandated to look at some stuff, and we're going to be putting forward some stuff, some of what.
And just before getting to those measures, Mr. Chance, that you'll present before the steering committee, so the feeling from your members is that they're disappointed and they're upset. But have they
Very much so.
But have they indicated to you that there could be any pushback against the decision in the form of strike?
Well, not from where I sit with my members and the conversation that is going in our WhatsApp group. It is more of not trusting the system. It is saying that here we go again, where something was given, and they're seeing it as it being taken back, but not really being deferred. So it's for persons in leadership now to try to explain and have them see it, and government also to act in unison with the leaders of the fraternity to ensure that there are things that will come that will provide some form of relief. Because a fare increase is only temporary, because when everything else goes, so goes the little profit that you make.
Edgerton Newman, sorry Dion, Newman, the issues that the presentation that the finance minister made at that meeting last week, what did he say?
First of all, let me endorse everything that my colleague Chance has said. Now, you asked me a very tough question. I must answer it as tough as I can. Now, the presentation by Minister Clark was not needed. Because most of us, I knew from his budget presentation that we weren't going to get a fair increase. I also knew from the debacle between the Bank of Jamaica and the JUTC fare reduction that we weren't going to get the fare increase. So the minister did not have to say anything, but I want to commend Minister Vaz for bringing him. Because the fact that he was there, sitting in front of us, a man who I personally have no trust in, because he has made a host of promises to us before.
Stick up in. You don't hold on. The finance minister is a man you don't have trust in?
Absolutely. Because when it comes to the transport sector, he has made several promises, and I think Chance mentioned one, which is the $200 million revolving loan fund, that he said 3% ready for the road. I said to myself, well, 5% would be good. And when we go to the bank, it was 14 and 15%. And as Chance said, some bankers were saying, listen, man, I can get 20% and 18% for this. Right?
And he did not say a word on it. And within a few months, that window was closed for us. And number of other things that offered to us. Only a few persons got it. National training program.
But stick with it. So before last week's meeting, the finance minister was somebody you didn't have trust in. After the meeting, what's the status of your trust?
Well, because of the way he spoke to us, and one of our minister was there, who we have great confidence in, and asked us to put a number of things before him in proposal to the National Steering Committee, and we believe, and I said several times over, that it will be hell and for the house if we don't get these things that we're going to put on the table. I think that, we have to accept the request, not just by the finance minister, by the Minister of Transport for a differ, because the Minister of Finance did not say in his about maybe 15 minutes presentation that he's asking us to agree for a differ. It is the Transport Minister who did that, right? And we all accept, the entire leadership of the public transport sector accept the differ of the present.
So let me get it straight. So the finance minister laid out the numbers, made a case that you said he didn't have to make, but he laid out made the case, but then the appeal, the emotional appeal, or the appeal to conform was made by the transport minister.
Our minister, yes.
Hold the line for us. We're going to take a break and come right back with more. This is the front page.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:30.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're still tuned into our discussion segment, the front page, having a conversation with two of the leaders out of the transportation sector about the delay of a 16% fare increase. We're speaking with Egerton Newman and Dion Chance. Egerton Newman, before the break, you described it as hell and powder house if it is that the measures that you're thinking of and presenting before the steering committee are not taken into consideration and implemented. What are those measures?
Thank you, Tona. And one of the measures that we're going to be putting to the steering committee is the whole issue of parking facilities for public transport operators. And I want to mention, Chance, I want to say island-wide, Chance, but I want to ask for it to commence in the Kingston Center and the KMTR, especially in Halfway Tree, because every day there are some 20-25 police officers in Halfway Tree around the clock, 16 persons for stopping and picking up. We have nowhere else to park. And this is what I rate a number of operators who wanted to demonstrate this morning. And I begged them, and they cursed, and I begged, please. So I want to commend them for not doing that this morning. But they know what they're feeling out there on the roads when all curve walls have been painted yellow. That's another issue. And they're illegal because they're not gazetted. And the policemen and women out there are ticketing taxi operators who stop on those yellow-painted curve walls. I think these are things that must be addressed. And ACP Mackenzie in that meeting give a thumbs up to address it, to look into the issue of the markings. We are suffering the pangs of hell, and we cannot sit down and say, okay, a different fare increase and all other things, let them relax and let them go. No, we need these things to be addressed now. So, the curve wall painting, the parking facility, the revolving loan, the training, and there are two others I've forgotten on my list. But these are things that we must ask the minister to address ASAP.
But hold on there. So here's the thing now, gentlemen. Dion Chance, let me start with you. I can see sense in holding strain at this time, obviously. But if I were a member of any of the taxi groups, and you gentlemen are representing me, what I'd be mad about is that you left that meeting without an indicator as to when. There's no timeline to hold the government to, and I'm thinking I'm thinking in my taximan or taxiwoman hat on. How could you leave that meeting and not have an idea as to when the thing would be likely to take effect?
Well, let me start off by saying to you that we didn't leave the meeting without any indication or indicators. Mr. Newman mentioned that he somehow forgot a couple of the things. One of the things that will be addressed in short order is the retooling of the sector. Now, a couple of years ago, we were given the go-ahead to do it for 8-year-old vehicles. But what happened was that the way that it was coined is that the brokers or the car dealership imported the vehicle on behalf of the association and its members. And what happened was that these vehicles were sold off to the general public, right? And many of the taximen didn't benefit. Those who bought cars bought it at the same market rate. And this was not the way that it was supposed to be done. So the steering committee has already looked at that. There's a recommendation in front of the minister, and that will be implemented in short order. The steering committee will also be meeting next week to start to coin out some other things. The thing with the parks and stuff.
Hold on, Dion Chance, because I gave you enough time to get there, but you don't get there. I'm saying, what indicator, what did you get out of the meeting to suggest that second quarter, third quarter this year, gentlemen, you'll have your 16%? That's the question I'm asking, because it appears as if you left the meeting without that. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, no, we didn't. The finance minister said that come November, December, the inflation rate should go down, right, based on all indications or indicators. So come the first quarter of 2025, we should, and I don't want to use the word will, but we should be granted the increase at that time. In the interim, the other things to ease the pressure will be implemented, right? So as far as the importation of vehicles to restock goes, the model now, which is there and has been accepted by the minister, is that the individual members will get the import license, their name, and not a blanket where a entity brings it in. That vehicle will belong to that member from the minute it is purchased, en route and cleared in Jamaica, and it is supposed to be bonded over for 3 years before that person can sell. Right?
So that's why I was pushing for the timeline, because I want to know when is your endpoint and what happens between now and the endpoint. The endpoint, of course, being when you get that increase. So you've given that timeline. But here's the thing. Edgerton, Newman, Dion Chance, you gentlemen make a lot of the yellow markings in the corporate area, and the fact that you have nowhere to pick up and sit down. I believe it's an injustice. But I've never seen taxi operators coordinate and lobby for the changes in changing this arrangement in the way you all do for fare increase. And I think the millions that you pay in traffic tickets and traffic fines, when effectively the authorities have given you nowhere to operate, I think that's a bigger drain on your resources than you're not getting a 16% fare increase at this time.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
Hold on, Edgerton. That very argument or that particular stalemate problem is being addressed. Is being addressed as we speak, right? And based on discussions with the NWA, which is a part of the steering committee, they are saying that majority of the things were done by citizens for beautification. I don't know where they get that from, but that is the argument. But like Edgerton said, we are there, we're on this one, and it should form part of the next meeting of the steering committee to get closure, because the arguments have already started, and it's not, you see, the difficulty is we only hear of things when they are finalized. And I think that from the leadership, we now as leaders are going to have to start to look at things differently in the way that we put forward and disseminate information. So we probably need to, because educating somebody about something is the greatest thing that you can do while you try to get a better day for them. So I think that we have fallen short, and I would say that as leaders, in disseminating certain information to our constituents, and we'll have to change that, right? So collectively, we're going to have to come together and sit and look at a way to get information out. I know that sometimes when you're a part of a committee and you're discussing issues and items which have not been finalized, it is not best practice to speak out before you see where it is going. But we're going to have to find a way to have the information of things that are being worked on and what is where we are with respect to certain things being disseminated to the membership so they can be informed and understand what is happening. And sometimes when decisions like these come along, they would have a better understanding of reasons as to why. I don't know if Ejitan wants to add anything.
No, Charlie, I don't want to add anything. I just want to say that the media must also look at the issue because they sometimes are to be blamed. Now, if I put 10 things on the table and one item there is fare increase, that's the one the media is going to carry. But the other thing, because we have been talking about these markings for years, you know.
Yeah, but you're not going to blame the media though, Ejitan Newman, because here's the thing. No. Hold on. I've never seen a strike threat from any taxi. Wait, no. I've never seen a strike threat from any taxi group for anything other than fare increase.
No, we would
argument done. So you can't say the media not supporting you and running with the fare increase and leaving everything else.
Run with me, George, if I mention a strike. You will run with me for that, you know. And it's not everything we can strike about. We have to lobby.
Glad you know that.
In the boardroom and in the corridors. I'm telling you though, let me make it very clear. The markings on the yellow line might reach that stage. And Mr. Chan sit before me. As a matter of fact, he's the man on the steering committee, not really me. I have somebody else there. But Chance, we have to discuss the marking. It's not so prominent in Montego Bay as it is in Kingston and St. Andrew. The guys are getting 7 tickets a day. Right?
So just to understand, because previously you had said that they said to you in the steering committee that it was being used for or done because of beautification purposes. Yes. Was anything said in that steering committee about how you guys would go forward? Would they be making changes?
Mr. Mackenzie, who's in charge of PSTED, he has given a commitment to look at it, and NWA is also supposed to do something to report back to the next committee meeting, which will be next week. So I will be able to speak, unable to speak as to what exactly will happen. Maybe we might get closure at the next meeting. You never know.
You seem to be too reasonable, gentlemen.
No, it's not a matter of
No. I'm moving on to something. You answer the question. So I'm saying to you.
I need to make another point, though.
Yeah, man. You're going to make the
point. Of a big issue.
You're going to make the point. But let me ask you this. So hold the point. Keep the point. In an economy that grew by, what they said in 2023, 2.6%. In a 2.6% economy, where the problem, I believe, is that everybody want everything all at the same time. You gentlemen recognize that the stakeholder group that you represent, that it is important for you to continue to be patient and to work towards the pie getting bigger so you can get the hefty slice that you think you deserve. Correct? Yes? And in so doing, holding strain now is not a favor to the administration in office, but it's a civic duty. It's your contribution to the country's push to make itself better and to create better outcomes for all. Correct?
Correct. And not just that. But if I'll use an analogy, a hamster in a cage is running around on that thing. So you're going to be going around and round in circles. If we get it now and inflation goes up, we'll not see the benefit of that increase. Right? So in order not to have inflation eat up that little thing, it's best to hold. Right? But there are some issues that are affecting the members, like the contrary being seized for contrary within a township, where you're heading from a village into the major town, and you can't deviate on a road if it's congested to get to the bus park. And this is one of the things. Contrary as it is going to another point than what your license says. Like for Montego Bay Transport Center to Mount Salem, and then you're running the vehicle from the transport center to Grand.
Dion Chance?
Instead of going on Barnet Street, you go on Barnet Lane.
Yes.
That's going to be dealt with as well. Because it's a vexing issue. And when they seize it, costs them up to 20-something thousand to get back the vehicle. So there is leaking through the bomb. The limited resources that our members are gaining.
Yeah. I don't want, George, Titi, I don't want one to believe that we are taking it easy on government. We are leaders. We read the fine prints. We understand what the two ministers were saying, and we come to an agreement. But we have at least 7 items of mid-term and short-term low-hanging fruits that must be addressed. If those items are being addressed, I tell you, waiting until next year for a fare increase would not be a problem. We need, and I put 300 million more on the 200 million, make it $500 million. That loan is important. Our units are rattling to the ground right now. That is important to the investors.
We're out of time, gentlemen, but if you bring the important issues, the media will assist you. It's not just fare increase, because as Dion Chan said, both of you agreed, that's just one small part of the bigger issue that is affecting transport stakeholders in this country. Thank you for your time this morning, gentlemen. We'll continue the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Listen up, motorists. Speeding burns more gas. So slow down. The life you save may be your own, and also that of your loved ones. Slow down. Save lives and money. The time by the Insurance Association of Jamaica is
7:45.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. It's heating up in Montego Bay. It's now 26 degrees Celsius.
Eliminate the hassle of managing multiple medications that can be confusing. Thanks to Houghton's Pharmacy. Introducing RX Pack, a mobile app available in the App Store and Google Play Store. RX Pack is specially designed for you to order and manage your medications. Download today for free. That's RX Pack for better medication management. Call 876-RX-0-RX-RX or visit our website, HoughtonsRx.com, for more details.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. Still tuned in to the front page. Continuing our discussions on that announcement to delay that 16% fare increase for taxi operators. Now being joined by the opposition spokesperson on transport, Mikhail Phillips. Good morning to you.
Morning to you and your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. What do you make of that move, Mr. Phillips, to delay the 16% fare increase that was set to take effect yesterday?
Not surprised from the announcement was made last year by the Minister of Finance and the Transport. We had indicated that if it is that they were trying to control inflation, then, this would be a negative effect to the inflation numbers. But overall, we thought that they would come with a comprehensive transport plan once the minister had organized this sector group, that he would have come with a national transport plan, then look at the different areas which they can either subsidize some of the cost to the operators or come with a plan then in how it is that you're going to then increase the fees on to the operators, themselves. Well, commuters to the benefit of the operators. But if you look at the transport sector itself, it has just been left languishing for many years without that plan on how it is that you deal with not only in the urban area but also in the rural area, the lack of parking spaces. We have seen during the whole COVID period when the Prime Minister had announced different packages for the sector itself, which was impossible for them to access. We see the Minister coming back with a similar action, which is not to the benefit of the sector itself. The Minister himself opened up the licensing regime for hackney carriages with the hackney carriage operators within the KMTR a few weeks ago. When we asked the question, how is this going to benefit the sector itself? We just got an ad hoc answer from the minister that is not going to help the sector. So, we expected that this would have happened. The operators got an increase last year of 19%. What was due to them on the 1st of this month is what was deferred. And we're still to hear from the minister how it is that the sector is going to be growing, not only for the operators themselves but for the consumers.
Here's the thing, though. Last week when we spoke to the minister on another program, he said we asked directly if he had if he had spoken to you about the planned deferral. He said that you had an engagement, you couldn't attend the stakeholders meeting, but that he explained what the decision he was going to take was, and he didn't say agreement, but you understood. Am I reflecting correctly what he said to you?
Well, I asked the Minister of Finance at the Standing Finance Committee, would the operators be getting the increase that was promised to them? His response to me then was that it would have to go back to the Cabinet for the Cabinet to take a decision. I asked the Minister of Transport the same day in the Standing Finance Committee when he appeared. And the Minister said that he gave his word, and he expect that his word would be honored. So we see the same government speaking at different sides of the spectrum. So, the minister mentioning it to me on the final day of when the Minister of Finance is speaking in Parliament is not really just consultation. It's telling me that what it is at the meeting that they were having, what it would entail.
When you asked the original question of the Minister of Finance at Standing Finance, was it that you had a feeling, you had some information that they might not be able to keep the commitment, which is why you put the question?
Well, if it is that the minister is rolling back the fares for the JUTC because of inflation, and when he did decide to roll back the fares, I remember getting up in Parliament myself and member Julian Robinson got up in Parliament to say that the reduction in the fares from the JUTC was not going to move inflation down in any way because of the amount of seats that you're offering compared to that of the larger sector within the KMTR itself. And just nationally, the JUTC is a small percentage of seats. So if it is that it is going to be inflation that they're trying to control, then common sense would tell you that this is something that they would probably be reconsidering. And instead of me guessing, I'd say let me ask the minister himself.
Right. So you're saying that this is a common sense move then to ask the public transport operators to hold strain for now?
Well, I expected that they would have, but we have always said that there are many ways that can benefit the sector itself without moving up the fares. And you see, the operators, it is hard for you to say that they should not get an increase because prior to this last increase, it was years before they saw one. Inflation has moved up tenfold. They have been operating, and we keep on saying that we need to stop treating them as if they are hustlers in a sector, but as investors, businessmen and women who have invested in the transport sector. It is also hard on the commuters themselves who has to dig deep in their pocket. Right now, what we're offering the commuters, charging them the fares and just what we're seeing on the road is not what we ought to be giving to Jamaicans in a public transport system. It affects your productivity, it affects your mental state, it affects crime itself. So, the policies have not moved up pace with the growth of the sector. And what we're seeing now is just the ramshackle public transport sector that we have now. So, we can argue the point if they should get it or if the minister should reverse it. But it was the same Minister of Finance and the Minister of Transport who sat in the cabinet with their other cabinet colleagues and approved the increase for the operators, knowing well that it would have an inflationary effect on the economy. So, it was nobody twisted their arms and they brought it to the public and announced an increase to the traveling to the operators. So, it is that lack of planning and foresight for the sector itself that is a greater concern, more than if it is that they have deferred the increase or not. That's our concern. What will happen to the sector after going through 4 ministers of transport and not seeing any plan itself? It is the policy of the government that has brought JUTC to its back.
And Mr. Phillips, the leaders of those operator groups that we had on earlier did indicate that there's some sort of plan that they're trying to hammer out at the Transport Operators Steering Committee. You're a part of that committee. Have you also indicated on behalf of the opposition?
I have not returned back to
You
that
have not
committee.
returned to the committee?
I have not returned back to that committee. No, because you see.
Do you have any intention to go back?
Well, let me say this to you. What that committee seems to have morphed into is really the minister deferring his responsibility for policy and putting it to a committee, having the committee agree on a fare increase, having the committee agree on the reduction, on deferring fare increases, than the minister.
So you don't see the committee as a consultative avenue?
Not in its current form, no.
So you have not returned to the committee?
I have not returned to the committee, not in its current form.
But for the opposition, assessing the transportation sector, you're saying that you thought there would be some plan that's coming when they said they're delaying the increase in fares. But what are the other plans? Has the opposition presented?
What in the minister's press release is akin to what was promised during the COVID period. Which did not benefit the operators at all. I mean, the funds that they say they have to on-lend back to operators is still sitting there. Hardly anyone has accessed it. We said in the beginning that what is required of the operators is just too onerous for them to access the funds, but no one cares. It's just a grand announcement. The access to, and there are some far-reaching things. We have to look at the greatest cost to the operators is the cost of fuel at the pump right now. In it, how it is that we even maintain our roads is a cost to them.
But hold on, but Mr. Phil, I have to get this clear before we go. We're almost out of time. If you become transport minister, wouldn't you set up a steering committee similar to what VAS has in place now? And wouldn't you give them the same latitude?
I've always said that there has to be broad-based consultation.
And this is not broad-based?
Well, I'm not sure what it is that he's consulting or not. I'm just saying that I expect that the minister would at least come with a plan itself, put it in front of the steering committee itself, and then try and trash out where it is that they need to improve the sector itself.
But assist me right here, Mikhail, because I'm saying, hold on.
As far as
hold on. You've been there, so we are taking your word. Hold on. One meeting. All right, good. So isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
And let me just say this, George. The reason why I remember the reason why I removed myself or did not return back is because the minister used my name in saying that I agree on a fair increase when we had no consultation on such. Like the minister came, the meeting I went to, we spoke about the sector itself and how to improve it. I had no consultation with the minister and I'm not going to be there to rubber stamp.
Yes.
Things that the minister ought to take decisions.
Yes, but hold on now. So the minister has a.
No, hold on, George.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that the steering committee is not a good thing. I'm just saying that I've asked for terms of reference for the steering committee. I've not yet gotten that terms of reference. I'm not going to be used as a political pawn to rubber stamp anything, anything.
We have 30 seconds. I have to ask you this. You don't think it's.
I get that terms of reference, I'm not returning back.
In the short time we have left. So you're saying then that the minister, the way he set it up for the stakeholders to essay the solutions to the problems besetting the stakeholders, you're saying that that's bad policy?
I'm not saying it is bad policy. I'm saying the setup as it is right now, in that the minister himself has not tabled a comprehensive plan on where to move the sector forward, than just ad hoc conversations, is not the way that I expected the committee to be moving forward.
Hear you on that.
Until I see that terms of reference to let me know what our responsibilities will also be.
Yes.
I will not go back to be a rubber stamp.
Hear you on that. Hear you loud and clear. Thank you this morning for your time, Opposition Spokesman on Transport, Mikhail Phillips. Really appreciate it. The Member of Parliament for Northwest Manchester.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales. For a better choice in the electrical business.
Clearing personal non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
8 o'clock.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Tuesday morning, I'm Tona Thomas. 17-year-old Nathaniel Thompson of Riches District in Clarendon is suspected to have drowned at a beach in Alligator Pond in Manchester on Monday. Thompson was a student of Alphonsus Davis High School in Spalding. Reports from the Alligator Pond police are that Thompson encountered difficulty while swimming with relatives in an area known as Sea Riv at about 10:45 a.m. The incident comes on the heels of another suspected teen drowning in Manchester, that of 16-year-old in a pool in Ingleside, Mandeville, last Thursday. An Ananda alert has been activated for 15-year-old Jamal Thompson of Whitehall Negril in Westmoreland, who has been missing since Saturday, March 30. He's of fair complexion, medium build, and about 5 feet 5 inches tall. The Negril police say that Jamal was last seen at home at about 12 p.m. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Jamal Thompson is being asked to contact the Negril police at 876-957-4268, the police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. The St. James Police have charged 3 men and a woman with breaches of the Firearms Act in relation to an incident that occurred on a beach in Montego Bay in the parish on Monday. Charged with possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition are 26-year-old Kenroy Gale, otherwise called Keneal, a steward of Cunningham Drive, Granville; 28-year-old Shaquille Williams, otherwise called Shacker, a delivery man of Fuller District, Granville; 19-year-old Tian Blake, otherwise called Tom, of Guns Drive, Granville; and a 23-year-old Shian Lee Bennett, otherwise called Lee, a supervisor of Church Lane Paradise, Norwood in St. James. police. The police report that a team was in the area at about 12:20 a.m. when they saw a Nissan AD wagon motorcar entering the beach compound. The lawmen say they walked towards the vehicle to address the driver who was blocking the entrance to the beach, but as they approached, the four began to behave in a manner that aroused the suspicion of the officers. The four were accosted and searched. A Canic TP95F Elite pistol with a magazine containing 10 9mm rounds was found under the rear seat of the car. All four were taken into custody and charged after being interviewed in the presence of their attorneys. Finally, across Jamaica this Tuesday morning, detectives assigned to the Hanover Police Division are probing the circumstances surrounding the murder of a man and the subsequent seizure of a gun and several rounds of ammunition in Mount Pelier District, Sandy Bay in the parish on Sunday. Dead is 68-year-old Clinton Moody, a shopkeeper of Mount Pelier. Residents reported hearing explosions coming from the direction of Moody's shop at about 8:05 p.m. They later found him slumped backward over the counter with multiple gunshot wounds. The police report that in their processing of the scene, they found a Browning 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 5 rounds of ammunition. Moody was pronounced dead at hospital. And that's it for Across Jamaica. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Jumpstart your fitness goals with Express Fitness. Sign up today and restart your fitness journey at an Express Fitness location near you. Enjoy safe, comfortable, and well-equipped gyms from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Call 554-5180 for a full listing of our open locations. Express Fitness. Express Fitness. Your goal, our mission.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway through an Olympic final.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Noblin Williams-Mills coming, McCrory flapping, her arms are waving, and Noblin Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And some parchment! Let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph, and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
Seven minutes past 8. You're listening to Nationwide this morning on this Tuesday, April 2, 2024. My name is George Davis.
And I'm Tawna Thomas.
Well, the Police Federation has picked a new chairperson, Inspector Blanch Codner. She replaces Corporal Rohan James. Constable Coy Marriott has been selected as General Secretary, replacing Corporal Arlene McBean. Corporal McBean has been promoted to Sergeant, and that promotion took effect in the most recent edition of the Force Orders. Inspector Codner has served the constabulary for over 25 years.
She previously served as the Federation's Director of Accounts and Agenda Affairs, and she's described as a team player who never misses an opportunity to lend support to a member in trouble, irrespective of where the member is located. And Inspector Codner joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Tona. Good morning, George.
Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Congratulations on your new post as the chairperson of the Police Federation. And Inspector Codner, before getting into what your mandate is and all of that, the matter at hand is that the former chairman is alleging victimization, and we want to hear this morning your perspectives on the matter. But first, walk us through the election selection process, if you could confirm for us if there was an election that took place.
Thanks for having me. Yes, in fact, an election took place on March 19, 2024 at the offices of the Jamaica Police Federation.
And is it that this election takes place annually at this particular time of the year?
Elections are done annually, but in this case, this was done because of the vacant position of the chairman. So normally the elections would be in May, but because of the interdiction of the former chairman and the position was vacant, and an election was done.
So is that the regular course of how things are done? He has been interdicted. That matter is still being fleshed out in the courts. What if it is that he's cleared? Can't he come back for his position? How does that work?
If he is cleared, it can run again, but not for this year, as the matter is scheduled for, I think, sometime in November. And by that time, the elections would have been held.
So just to understand it, Inspector Codner, in a situation where you have a chairperson who is interdicted, it's the regular thing that you go ahead and you carry out a selection exercise, an election exercise?
That is correct. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the person has to be interdicted.
I was just using it because this is the situation at hand, but yes.
Right. A member can be promoted, like in the case of Sergeant Arlene McBean. So as long as the position is vacant, then a selection process is done.
All right, and you were duly elected on March 19.
I was duly elected as the chairman, and Constable Coy Marriott was duly elected as the general secretary.
Just before you continue, Tawna, just to be clear, Inspector, congratulations again. My understanding is that the Federation can't go into conference without a general secretary in place, without a chairman in place. Was that what necessitated the elections at this time, just to be clear?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the election has taken place. You've been elected as the chairman or the chairperson of the Police Federation, and we also mentioned that there's a new general secretary. But coming out of all of that, the former chairman, Corporal Rohan James, is alleging victimization based on the allegations that he has put out there in the media through a post he made on social media. Is any of this, is it baseless, or is any of this that he's putting out there true?
It is baseless. Generally speaking, if a member is interdicted, that person is barred from performing any duty in the JCF. The Police Federation is a subset of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, which is constituted in accordance with the second schedule of the Constabulary Force Act, subsection 1 of Section 67. The Police Federation acts through branch boards, central conference, and central committees. At our annual joint central conferences, representatives from each board elect an 8-member central committee. That is 2 from the rank of constable, 2 from corporals, 2 from sergeants, and 2 from inspectors. However, the inspectors' elections are normally held in March of the same year. So after the branch board have elected the 8 members, it is the 8 members who decide among ourselves who we want to be chairman and general secretary.
So this idea, because he's asserting that the Federation colluded with the High Command to replace him as chairman. And he's saying that this is because of his decision to file contempt proceedings in the Supreme Court in relation to the JCF's failure to implement that court orders for an overtime system.
That's the farthest thing from the truth. We have had discussion as a central committee. The matter was filed without the knowledge of the central committee. After it was filed, we realized that there were items in there that we did not agree to. Case in point, the chairman, former chairman, was requesting that some public officials be arrested. At no time did the central committee took a decision that any member of the public, of any public officials should be arrested.
So effectively then, under your leadership, or perhaps the central committee you refer to, you just gave fresh instructions to the lawyers who were acting for him when he was chairman to what? Discontinue all proceedings? Is that clear? Is that it?
To withdraw the matter and make an amendment and for it to be refiled.
Oh, so okay, what now becomes a substantive part of the new filing?
Okay, so since the matter has been withdrawn, we have met with the High Command and we are satisfied that they are making good progress in resolving the issues. So if it is that the issues are being resolved, we don't see the need for the matter to go back to the court. If 2 parties can agree to settle a matter outside of court, why would we want to go to court to waste the court time?
All matters that were brought before the courts under Corporal James's leadership, have those matters all now been abandoned?
Not all, because some are personal matters.
Well, brought under the banner of the Federation.
No, not all of them have been withdrawn.
Okay, but so those that have not been withdrawn based on technical grounds that you can't abandon the litigation at this time.
Correct.
Okay.
So just to understand it, Inspector Codner, the matter that was brought in relation to the overtime system, you've withdrawn that, you're seeking to do amendments now, but you're having a conversation with the High Command to see how best to keep the matter out of the court and fix the issue.
Right, because the legal process dictates that due diligence must be carried out before a matter is placed before the court. Yes, there are issues, but we are satisfied that the High Command is working to have them resolved.
Is there, well, in these early days of your leadership, Inspector, are we to conclude that there may be a Rohan James faction that may not support you, or is it that all are in line with your vision for the Federation at this time?
Well, I can speak for the Central Committee. We are unified, and we are working together as a team to ensure that our members have proper representation.
I feel awkward. Your first interview to the public, and we've spent so much time talking about legal matters and hangovers from our previous regime. I think it's fair for us to give you the chance to let Jamaica know a lot more about Blanch Codner. Tell us about your rise through the JCF. When did you enlist, and your placements as you moved up the ranks, and your outlook for the future?
Well, I joined JDF on the 19th of June, 1995. My initial posting was Manchester Division. I was transferred from Manchester to Area 3 headquarters, from Area 3 headquarters to Clarendon. So I am assigned to the Clarendon Division, but I am at the Police Federation at the moment.
You're a Clarendonian, or you're a Manchester lady?
I am a Clarendonian.
And through your eyes, how has the force evolved over time, especially as it relates to the role that women play in it?
Well, we have made great progress over the years. You might have known that we were allowed to join in 1949, the first female. So it is our 75th year anniversary.
There have been some trailblazing women in the constabulary over time. Javine Bent, Ione Ramsey, Novelet Grant, my good friend. Who among that those names I've called, or somebody else who I didn't mention, who has been an inspiration to you, or maybe even a man?
Well, I have to say, retired DCP Javine Bent. I remember she did my interview when I was joining, and I remember her asking me who my role model was. And when I told her that she was my role model, she was surprised. So she said, "Since I'm your role model, tell me what you know about me." And I was able to tell her and convince her that, in fact, she was in fact my role model.
Where did you go to high school? Where did you go to primary school?
I attended Morgan Spa All-Age School, Edwin Allen Comprehensive High School, and I also attended the Caribbean University.
Do you have your eyes set on becoming commissioner one day?
Well, anything is possible. Our highest ranking female is Mrs. Karina Powell Hood. She is the acting DCP in charge of force development. I think the only position that has eluded us as women is that of commissioner. But I think that we are on a path of progression, and sooner or later, we will get there.
And the reason I asked about that, Tana, is because Edwin Allen have already had one police commissioner, former police commissioner,
yes,
Carl Williams.
Carl Williams.
Right, so I was wondering if you would close out the double. Eh?
Now, Inspector Codner, you're the new chairperson of the Jamaica Police Federation. What do you make now of the state of the JCF in terms of the rank and file membership, and what's your mandate?
I know that the rank and file needs stability. They want their business to be conducted in a decent, disciplined, and professional manner. And that is what we're going to do as a committee heading into conference when we will be given a new mandate.
And so far, is there any, or are there any ideas on your mind, any particular assessments that you've made and things that you'd like to change or see improved heading into conference?
Some of the things that I would like to see improved is order decency, discipline, respect, and professionalism. And that is what I will be treating with as the chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation.
Mhm. And so far, I heard you mention earlier to George as well that you believe you have the strong support from the executive, but you haven't yet gotten a clear idea as to the wider rank and file membership, how you're being received so far.
Well, a number of them have sent congratulatory messages and have indicated their willingness to work with me.
Mhm. So do you expect then, you said some of them, do you expect then to, have strong support, have a smoother sail along the way in comparison to the previous chairman?
Well, I expect their full support. The former chairman, they have supported him, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't support me.
Inspector, there are a couple of approaches to leadership that I want to ask you about. One is where the leader fights all battles in public because they want the membership to see that they are advocating, that they are at the sharp end of representation. Other leaders want to keep things away from the headlines as best as possible because they feel that they make more headway there when there's nothing said publicly that can cause any party to feel aggrieved. What school do you subscribe to and why?
I subscribe to keeping it away from the public. I think when you have done that, you have more time to focus on what you have to do, and everything is not out there in the public. I don't think that representation has to be adversarial. I don't think it has to be contentious and disrespectful.
And there's this feeling over the years, based on how previous chairmen of the Police Federation have postured, that it's almost as if the JCF itself as an organization, the High Command especially, is anti-rank and file members. And there's a natural enmity between Police High Command and Police Federation. You've been a member of the JCF for a quarter century. Is this true? Is this perception true?
Well, former chairmen have done it their way, and I will be doing it my way. I know that. Well, we had a meeting with our commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blanch. He has pledged his support and to work with us to resolve the issues. I have worked with him before. I know him to be a man of integrity, and our objectives are aligned, and I don't think it is we against them. It is one force, and if we're to be a force for good, we will have to work together.
Mm-hmm. And as you say that, the issue of bucking heads with authority. You say you want to keep things quiet, but you're not afraid to do that, are you, Inspector?
No, if it is that I have to speak out, I will speak out.
And when you reflect on what has brought you here, those values that as a police, I almost said policewoman, that as a member of the JCF, we're shedding that now, a member of the JCF has lifted you to this position where your colleagues can put this faith in you. What do you think those values are, Inspector?
Integrity, trust, confidentiality, sincerity, genuine. I think those are some of the attributes why I have been elected to chairman.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure a lot of people don't know. We in the media, we do, but you can help us this morning by telling more people than just this small number. As Police Federation Chairman, what does that mean for you on active duty? What is it that you will be doing day to day?
Day to day, the team, we will be making representation for our members on welfare issues, working conditions, salary negotiation, transfers, promotions, just about anything that they have brought to our attention that we think is worthy of bringing to high command or being represented.
But day to day, you won't be on the front line doing usual police work.
No.
And that obtains for the duration of your service as chairman.
As chairman, that is correct.
Excellent. Well,
But if it is,
yes,
that I have to do it because I travel from Clarendon to Kingston every day. So if it is that during my traveling, there are things that I come across that I need to deal with as a police officer, I will have to deal with them.
Last question, Chairman. The feeling over the years is that the Police Federation has become and postured itself has represented itself almost as a political organization. Can you tell Jamaica this morning that your work will be police interest first and it will not be colored by any political motive one way or the other?
We are police officers. We are not politicians. We will allow politicians to be politicians, and we will be police officers.
Hear you on that. Thank you for your time this morning and all the best.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right.
That's Inspector Blanch Codner, newly installed chairman of the Police Federation. Up next, A Healthier You.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:30.
Jumpstart your fitness goals with Express Fitness. Sign up today and restart your fitness journey at an Express Fitness location near you. Enjoy safe, comfortable, and well-equipped gyms from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Call 554-5180 for a full listing of our open locations. Express Fitness. Express Fitness. Your goal, our mission.
A Healthier You is brought to you by Express Fitness, your goal or mission, and Horton's Pharmacy, a family tradition of dispensing and caring for 100 years.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. It's time for A Healthier You, and today we're focusing on autism. Today is also World Autism Awareness Day, observed on April 2 annually. The day is aimed at highlighting the need to help improve the quality of life of those with autism so they can lead full and meaningful lives as an integral part of society. Autism is a lifelong neurological condition that manifests during early childhood, irrespective of gender, race, or socioeconomic status. The term autism spectrum refers to a range of characteristics, appropriate support, accommodation, and acceptance of this neurological variation allows those on the spectrum to enjoy equal opportunity and full and effective participation in society. So in A Healthier You this morning, we we focus on autism awareness and the work of the Jamaica Autism Support Association to support parents with children with autism. We're being joined by developmental pediatrician Dr. Andrea Garbutt. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. First of all, Dr. Garbutt, could you tell us what are the early signs of autism?
Autism presents as a neurodevelopmental disorder, which means that it occurs in the early developmental period. So between 0 to 5, that's when you would expect.
You said 0 to 5?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the Cari-feta. So you won't start seeing signs until you don't see skills that you expect. So one of the very early signs, which can occur within the first year, is for a child who has difficulty disengaging and then re-engaging again.
Mm-hmm.
So they may focus on our life and find it difficult to disengage from it. A little later sign could be where the child does not point as you expect, which occurs about 9 months. And at the same time, some parents may notice that they're not responding to their name. So all along, if sounds were made, they would respond, but by about 9 months, we expect kids to now respond to their name. Anecdotally, parents will tell you that this occurred. But in some kids, development will proceed as you expect.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere around 15 to 18 months, language is lost or language regresses. And language symptoms or delayed in language is the most frequent presentation that you can get in an autism spectrum disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Individuals will also notice what we refer to as other aspects of social communication impairment. So not really vocalizing their needs. And then you would say, well, then all people who can't speak would fall under the autism spectrum, but that's not true. What they do is that they don't vocalize their needs, but they don't make any effort to use nonverbal language to get what they require. The other aspects will be the poor eye contact. Some people will describe having a child who was now a good eater become a picky eater, someone who likes routines, someone who doesn't really respond to the social bids or calls of others.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the behaviors that most will remember. The tippy-toeing, the hand flapping, the lining up of objects, the spinning, and a hypersensitivity or sensory-seeking behaviors as well. So those are common signs and symptoms that you get starting from within the first year that many people may not see as very obvious, but definitely when that language doesn't progress as you expect, that's when parents will take note.
And for example, with the language aspect, is this something that's corrective? I mean, how do parents treat with that?
So you want it corrective in terms of having speech.
Yes.
But what also becomes with language is really a means to communication. Some kids will talk, majority actually will. There will be a few that will not develop language. So I can't tell you at 2 and 3 and 4 which kids will and won't. I can say which ones are more likely. But there are some kids who, even after age of 4, will develop language.
Mm-hmm.
Prognostic factors you really look at are kids who develop functional communication. It may not be as perfect as you want it, but they start with that effort before the age of 4 and having an IQ that we would consider typical.
And for example, you have children who've presented with autism in the ways that you've just mentioned, Doc, and then their parents have sought help. But in terms of the educational aspect, going to school, tell our listeners, do autistic children attend school, and how difficult is for them to learn in a regular classroom setting?
So a child is a child is a child.
Yes.
Whether they have autism or not, and they deserve to attend and be a part of just about any experience that any other child could have. We want inclusion. However, inclusion is sometimes difficult based on severity of symptoms as well as the amount of behaviors a child may exhibit, especially when they don't have access to intervention. So a kid with autism, one of the first things we say is that please get them into daycare, a small preschool, because they have been shown benefits to a child of being in a social setting with lots of language versus being at home in front of a television. So we encourage parents to put them in daycare initially, put them in a preschool. We just warn, it has to be a small school, a school that has enough teachers who are willing to learn, and especially where parents have access to intervention, to invest and help to train some of those people within that school. Or some parents may actually have what's referred to as a shadow, who attend school with the child. Now, when you look at autism, all kids don't have intellectual disability. It's just under 40% that will have. The other 60% in theory could attend a regular school with a regular curriculum. But just be cognizant that there will be environmental factors that may make it more challenging.
Yeah.
For example, their behaviors might be one, but within that environment, triggers for the behavior might just be noise. And so we, again, encourage our children to attend where they can be included. We very much want them to be included. Where accommodations can be made, we try to have those done. And the kids who can't participate in mainstream schooling, those are the kids that are now placed in a special education unit.
Yeah. And at the special education unit, could you paint us a picture of what a typical day looks like for an autistic child in a unit like that?
So everybody's plan is individualized, but the routine is there. You wake up in the morning, you get dressed, you may get a taxi or a bus, and without your parent or a caregiver, and the kids are taken to school. They're expected to go into their class, put down their bags, and whatever their curriculum is, that is what will be executed.
So is it that curriculum is tailored specifically to match a group of children who may be similar? How does that happen?
So an individualized curriculum is based on what a child's ability is.
Yes.
Mainstream schooling assumes that we all run at the same pace. Special ed streaming assumes that we don't run as fast. And so we must individualize it. In a classroom, you may have people coming in at different times behind the main pack, and you must accommodate for those.
And Dr. Garbut, I'm here thinking about autism, but I wonder if autism can be mistaken for some other developmental disorder.
So one, in the good old days, all the developmental disabilities were just all piled into one, and everybody got a diagnosis of mental retardation.
Yeah.
With better criteria for diagnosis, better learning and exposure, we have now been able to separate out those groups. Also, initially, we will get children who are verbal, and some individuals around them may assume that they don't have autism because they can spell, they can decode or read, they can say their ABC, tell you all sorts of shapes and everything. So those kids are often missed until the language or the communication doesn't progress as you expect, or behaviors such as tantrums continue way beyond the expected period.
And so the work now of the Jamaica Autism Support Association, I can imagine that parents in Jamaica with kids who have autism, they need a lot of support, and sometimes, they're in the thick of things. They don't understand what's happening, so they need that educational support as well, that awareness as to how to relate to their children and what to do. How does the Jamaica Autism Support Association come into that?
Well, one, it provides a safe space. individuals with similar concerns have a place to voice their experiences, share it, help to support each other. That's the first. Second, you have those who are the forerunners who have experience and who have learned. They come and start teaching those who are coming into the system. So they provide a different perspective. I may represent schools. Another parent may say, maybe try this other place, which is not on the list. Maybe not special ed, but they did very well with my child. And that's how you start getting parents guiding other parents. Within that group, not only to talk and to vent, there's also socialization, and not just with parents, families on special occasions, and it helps in bringing awareness and bringing acceptance.
So if there's a parent out there that's listening, Dr. Garbutt, they have a child who has autism and they need that sort of support, how can they find the Jamaica Autism Support Association?
So that's an easy find. Google has made it very easy these days. So you just look for Jamaica Autism Support Association. And the email address is jasa.jm2k9@gmail.com.
And a final word to the parents out there, Dr. Garbutt, they perhaps have just gotten the diagnosis or just been told that their child has autism. What do you say to those parents this morning who, perhaps feel like giving up?
I say have hope. Nobody has the ability to forecast what your child will be in the future. That presentation diagnosis is what it was on diagnosis. Have hope, have fight, and start the work, because nobody can tell you the final outcome of your child. So never give up hope.
Yeah, a good way to end on. Today is World Autism Awareness Day. Yeah, if you know somebody whose child is autistic, reach out to them, give them your support, refer them as well to the Jamaica Autism Support Association and to this program to hear what Dr. Andrea Garbutt had to say about the diagnosis. She's a developmental pediatrician. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, welcome.
That was Dr. Andrea Garbutt, a developmental pediatrician, talking to us today about autism on World Autism Awareness Day. Going to take a break and come back with your birthdays.
A healthier you was brought to you by Express Fitness, your goal or mission, and Horton's Pharmacy, a family tradition of dispensing and caring for 100 years.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway through the Olympic finals.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the Blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Noblin Williams-Mills coming, the glory flapping, her arms are waving, and Noblin Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goals.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And some parchment, let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph, and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
Baby, let's cruise away from here. Don't be confused. The way is clear. And if you want it, you got it forever. This is not a one-night stand, baby. So let the music take your mind. Just release and you will find you're gonna fly away. Glad you're going my way. I love it when we're cruising together. The music is played for love. Cruising is made for love. I love it when we're cruising together. Baby, tonight belongs to us. Everything's right. Do what you must. And inch by inch we get closer and closer to every little part of each other. Ooh, baby, so let the music take your mind.
Smokey Robinson, Tony Thomas. Made his name with the arguably Motown's most successful ever group called The Miracles. Yeah?
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
Well, Smokey Robinson takes us into the birthday segment. It's that time of the morning when we tell some very special people happy birthday and happy anniversary over on Facebook. Happy birthday to Camille Beadle, Paris McBean, Heather Richardson, highly favored child. Okay, highly favored child. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Richard Anderson. And there's a birthday message for Shireen Phillips. This one says, happy birthday to my beautiful, kind, hardworking, loving, protective cousin, Shireen Phillips. Enjoy your day. To the Max Cuz, love ya, Miguel. This one says, happy birthday to you, Shireen. Hope you have a really good day. Greetings also coming from Melanie and the family. Over on YouTube, Marva Thomas sending happy birthday greetings to her daughter. Is this Kimani, who is celebrating her birthday today? Lives in Florida. Happy birthday to you, Kimani, from your mom, Marva. She says, wishing you God's richest blessings, good health, and happiness. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Kimani. So you said it? Kimani?
Yeah,
man.
I'm thinking it is Kimani.
Marva Thomas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there anybody else who's celebrating a birthday today or an anniversary? Do let us know so that we can wish you a special one.
As I said, I remember the scene, Tana, Jermaine, from Troy with Brad Pitt when the opening scene, when this giant representing an army, he killed him with one stroke of the blade. And he looked at the army and said, "Is there no one else?" Every man turned up a shake. Nobody now come forward. Yeah. From what?
Jermaine says the better scene is from what movie?
No,
The
man, they
same
can't get
movie?
a scene better than that. From the opening sequence of Troy, Brad Pitt.
Another movie.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. What? You mean Gladiator Russell Crowe in the Coliseum? Are you not entertained? Is that not why you're here? Play no. You can't find it. It's at the intro. It's at the start to this Jay-Z song, man. Moment of Clarity on Black Album. So I don't know if you can find that.
Why is nobody mentioning Titanic?
Tana. Hold on. On the point of Titanic.
The door. It wasn't the door.
You saw the doors. Yes, for $70,000 US.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. What do you think about the door? No, they're big enough for the
It could have hold it for them. It could have hold it for them.
Do you know I have never watched Titanic?
You haven't?
No, I watched the original Titanic, the older one. But
There's
this
an
one,
older one?
Yeah, man. They think that was the first Titanic?
Yes. Oh.
Hear it.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Spaniard. Hear the chant. Spaniard. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Russell Crowe's best movie? You know Russell Crowe. What was this? No, A Beautiful Mind. When he was the mathematician. Yeah, I think that was.
Do you have a favorite actor?
That's your favorite actor?
No, I'm asking if you have a favorite actor.
There are so many good actors, it's hard to have a favorite actor. I don't know people have a favorite singer or a favorite actor.
What do you mean? I have a favorite actor.
Who that?
Denzel.
Well,
Washington.
Well,
Is
no,
your
you're not opposite
favorite
Denzel
actor?
Washington town.
I have a favorite a lot of things.
What?
Sade is my favorite artist. Yeah.
I don't know how a human being can say there's one actor, one singer, one who's. It's hard.
But there's something about that particular person that when their music plays, it puts you in a whole different kind of mood in comparison to the other artists out there. Or an actor that every single movie that comes out, you must watch.
Sade is class, pure class, but
That's what I'm talking about.
Sade sing like
Different level.
Sade sing like she have low blood pressure.
Lord
Think
Jesus.
I'll leave your side, baby. Like she was so sweet sugar water to drink. But no man, class. Man. So
Yeah.
you realize our reaction when we say Sade, we don't run in, we just say, alright.
You didn't brush it
Yeah,
off.
no, we never brush it off because yeah man, we can't work with Sade. Yeah man, Sade
Yeah.
is as Jermaine said, she's a class apart from a whole lot of very good people, but she's just different.
It's so unfortunate that I was saying to Jermaine that I don't think she can come back to Jamaica.
Can you imagine that?
She had a little run-in with the police back in the day in Jamaica.
For the spliff or the spliff? Not even a spliff, a spliff. There's a difference between a spliff and a spliff. You know?
Really?
Yes.
No, but how can you just say that and leave me?
Then, Jermaine, what you running to? Me define it. You told her already.
You told me?
Jermaine said he told you that there's a difference between a spliff and a spliff.
I don't remember.
So, Tana, when you say, alright.
No,
Jermaine says
no, I need to hear.
Why?
I need to hear. But I did not smoke weed.
Tana was a Rasta. Turn back Rasta?
I was not a
Alright,
weed
then.
smoker, okay?
Spliff and a spliff. Yeah, but there's a difference between a spliff and a spliff. Yeah, man. Or a Ziggy. You know what I mean? Or the Aishent. As a Rasta man, they say.
I'm so confused.
The Aishent.
By the way, before we wrap the show, can I just say that I met Mrs. Barkley on Thursday? Barca? Etta? Yeah. I met her on Thursday. So good morning to you, Mrs. Barkley, and good morning as well to Pauline and Paulette. Good morning as well to Rose, and good morning as well to Pauline and Paulette's niece. Where was I? I was heading somewhere. And I honestly felt like a little bit of a celebrity.
Aye.
Where I was, you know, and folks are looking at me. I'm like, yeah, man, my peeps know me.
Etta.
Yeah,
So-
it was Etta.
So play Etta. Play for Etta James. Now play something for Etta. Play something for Etta, man. Etta is a classic name, and you know, so it's not a like a young girl, you know. No, distinguished woman. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Etta. And then like a girl name like Nora. You know, Nora Gay or something. Morning, Nora. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah? When you name Nora now, you know you're about 25.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Where does my name rank though?
Tawna. It's unique.
Yes.
Unique.
You are correct.
Give me something from Etta. Turn on the Etta, Mr. King. Cha.
Yeah.
At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over.
What?
And life is like a song.
Etta, a classic name. It's just like you hear a man named Ignatius. He cannot have been born before 1930. You understand? Ignatius. Egbert.
Listen, guys, we have one
Tawna
more
is a
birthday.
modern name.
Yeah.
Modern.
We have one more birthday before we wrap the show. We couldn't forget this one. It's the birthday of an avid NNN listener, Robert McKenzie, who's always troubling me in the YouTube chat. Happy birthday to you, Robert McKenzie. I see all the YouTubers wishing you happy birthday as well. Hope you have a fantastic day.
That I could speak to.
And that's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide This Morning, NTM, The Big Show. Thanks so much to our technical operator and the musical maestro, Jermaine King, to our super producer, Michelle McCrae Smith, our editor, Kimon Thompson. Cara is now in the afternoon. Yeah, up next you have the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton, and at 10 you have Cliff Hughes Online. I'm Tawna Thomas.
And I have Ignatius Aloysius Georgius Davis.
You know, you say that, and I'm now remembering
What?
that movie, The Lunatic.
Yes.
He had so many names.
Yeah. Paul Campbell?
Yeah.
Paul Campbell, yeah.
Gassama, photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning.
For you are mine. At last.
You've just heard Nationwide This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
On today's program, we tell you more about the European